Welcome back to the What Does Your Mum Think podcast. It's been a while, bro. How you feeling?
It has been a while. I'm feeling good. I was just in a bit of a panic trying to get back in time for the pod. I was stuck in traffic, and then the car was saying I was running out of petrol, and then my tires were going flat apparently. And then I was trying to get Shang to contact you because I was panicking, and I was thinking, are we going to get in? Are we going to get in touch with the guests today whilst I'm driving? Your kids in the back, so I'm like trying to drive safely, respecting the speed limits. And then, and it's pouring down. I've just arrived here with some nice fluffy hair for you.
Yeah, Manchester weather. Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Full disclaimer, I stayed up, even though the fights are on at a better time for me out here. I stayed up for last night and they still mash up my sleep. So I woke up at like 5 o'clock on the couch with like loads of pillows around me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck. I've not got the best couch. Do you know what I mean? It's not the comfiest.
It looks pretty nice.
And it looks nice, but it's definitely not for sleeping on. You know what I mean? I woke up and it just mashed me up. So I started messing about. I went back to bed for a bit, and I just got up and I just still feel like disorientated a little bit. You know, when you messaged me, I said you was late. I was actually buzzing that. You know, when your bed feels real nice on a Sunday morning, you won't know this feeling because you got 2 kids. But I just got some new sheets. But yeah, bro, we're back. What's happening? Fresh live. You know, you might just have to take the reins on this one a little bit if my mind wanders.
Oh yeah.
Look like I'm blasted.
You probably are. I mean, it's legal in New York, isn't it?
Probably still am a little bit, to be honest. I could be a little bit. But yeah, it's been good. My brother's just been out here for like a good stint of time. That was great. It's kind of nice to stop and pause a little bit with him here. I felt like I vicariously seen everything for the first time through him again, which was really nice. And to see it with him, which is cool. Been slowly ticking off more and more galleries, going to more and more like talks. Went to a nicer Tuesday talk this week. Talks, should I say plural? Which is really cool with a gang from Pearl Fisher. Settled in working that now. It's fucking hell, lad. Could do a whole podcast on the the madness that is when you try and get on your feet out here and you move to another country and stuff.
That would make a great podcast, by the way. So, like, we should just do an episode with you. Tell me about New York.
You can talk. You can tell me.
You can be the guest.
But it's not where I'm at now with it. It's kind of like I've got my favorite pizza spot. I've got my favorite little hang spots. I've got a gym that I'm training at. Things have kind of coming together a bit. I never thought it was going to happen. I never thought it was all going to come together when I fucking first got here. But yeah, we out here living in New York, getting inspired.
Those first
jumping from
sublet to sublet, not knowing where you were going to be living. You're a man of routine. Obviously, you couldn't have any of that. I don't know how you held it together, but you're here. You've got a lovely little pad now. Remy's just popped in.
So Remy,
he's gonna have to hear me do his introduction. We can't hear you at the moment, Remy. You're in the waiting room. It's like you're in the doctor's. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna.
You're in the doctor's waiting room.
And you're about to give us a clinical.
It's a therapy session.
Therapy session. So well, without further ado, today we're blessed to have Rémy on the big screen. He's a talented French designer currently based in London. Rémy began interning at Landor in Paris, and that'll be an interesting conversation because both me and Christian also interned at Landor, not in Paris, in London. But since then, he's worked at some renowned studios such as Saffron, Studio Output, Thisaway, freelanced at a wealth of agencies, Dixon Baxi, JKR, Koto, Nomad, Design Studio, to name a few. He's got a nice smile in the mind approach to some of his work. And it's just across like such a wide range of different projects, from branding to packaging to England rugby team to branding festivals, and even there's a little project in there from Gordon Ramsay, and I know he's not put that in the presentation, but I think we will get to that because I do like that. But without further ado, let's bring Rémy in. What's good, Rémy?
Hi guys.
Bonjour, Rémy. How you feeling?
Comment ça va?
Ça va. Thank you for having me on this, guys.
Oh, thank you for joining. I love glasses.
Thanks, man. Thank
The
you.
vlog.
Good
I need a setting behind me, right? I was just saying before it, so obviously, still pretty fresh in this apartment that I'm living in at the minute, and I need to fill a wall with prints, you know, so I have a nice backdrop on calls. At the minute, it's just black, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I still need to see like there's a bit of gap I need to fill behind me, but
I see the bingo one at the Mr. Bingo one at the top right there. Whereabouts are you?
I'm based in Hackney Downs.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, but where are you based? Are you based? I think was it New York? You've moved or?
Yeah. I'm in New York, up in Harlem, and obviously Michael's in Manchester, innit? But I used to live when I was in London. I used to live in like Bow kind of area. Do you know what I mean? Around there kind of ways. I've always lived around Hackney, you know, like different bits of Hackney, but East London's definitely got a close place in my heart.
Yeah, I've always been East London since I moved. Like different parts of East London, like Shadwell at the start, and then now Hackney. But yeah, always been East London since.
It's weird, isn't it? When me and Michael landed there, it was kind of just random work where we ended up in Bethnal Green. But from that, because I had access to a park, the Victoria Park, it's like that was my little home away from home. So wherever I moved, it was making sure that I still had access to that park, you know, so it still felt like a bit of a getaway.
Yeah, you did like a bit of like greenery next to where you live. Did you? Yeah. So did you both live in London back then?
Yeah, the first place we moved to was Bethnal Green, where we lived together. And we used to call it Bethnal Grease because it was a little bit different back in the day, Rémy. But yeah, it's beautiful now. Lovely little flower shop, coffee shops.
Yeah,
we roughed it out though. Yeah, we roughed it out. It was greasy. It was greasy. We had, like I said, it was a bunk bed situation, and that, like, it was a placement year. Obviously, for the first time we went down there, and then the second we went back for our last year, and then the second time we came back, obviously it was for the longer period, so to say, with full-time jobs with a bit of a better pay. And in my own bed, in my own bedroom.
Yeah, I know exactly the feeling. When I moved to London with some of my friend and my brother, we spent like a month in Bethnal Green, and I was staying in like a hotel, and like first night it was like bed bugs crawling on the kind of curtains, and I was like, "Oh, welcome to London." But you know, it's better now. So
yeah, it's the hostel, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on that, Rémy, I think like I was thinking we could dive into Landor there, but let's take it all the way back because you put a beautiful presentation for us together. I'm really glad you've done your homework.
always over.
Thank you so much. It's amazing. It's great.
You guys.
I'm going to share it. I'll pull my screen up for you, Rémy. So talk to us. What's going on here, Rémy?
So I mean, yeah, because when you told me like childhood, I was like, actually last week I was at my parents, and I thought, oh, you know what? Like my parents actually are very sweet. They keep all the records of like everything I've done ever, you know, no matter the quality or whatever. So it was kind of like a good, walk down memory lane. So I just kind of dig through like all the, the boxes, etc. And yeah, it kind of made me laugh most of the time when I was looking through it, because you just see some random stuff, and then you just see like, child's mind. And yeah, it's just quite funny because like when you look at the, the different things, obviously obsessed with, animes and comic books and, everything where there's like, dragons and weapons and stuff like that. But yeah, the thing that cracked me up the most is when I was like looking at like even like, almost I went to like religious lessons when I was a kid, but not religious at all now. But yeah, when I was looking at those, even like the characters when I was like tiny, you can even see like a Nike swoosh on them. It just cracked me up. I was like, shit. I was like 5 years old, and you're just already like conscious of the brands you're wearing. And I was like, oh, so yeah, it just made me laugh. But overall, yeah, you can see like from when I was like a kid, I just drew all the time.
That's really interesting. I love it. There's a bit of type here.
I was going to say that straight up.
Something about that. I can see that being repurposing.
yeah, I should probably make that my new personal logo.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
Growing up in France, what was that like? And like, how did you find your way to sort of through. I know the next page we're going to get to school, but like what was that like, and what influence did that have on your creativity?
Well, to be honest, I grew up in a part of France where like around me there was like graffitis all the time, so there were like a lot of like massive lettering on walls and people painting murals, etc. So I think like maybe without realizing it, I think it probably influenced a lot how I just see design in general. Like there was just always like this kind of almost like decorative approach around you, and because everything was kind of like gray and concrete, I think it was just a way for people to like dress up those those walls, etc. But yeah, no, I think like none of my two parents were from the creative background. There were definitely like creative interests on my dad's side, and yeah, I think it was just they kind of always encouraged me to draw, etc. So like when they were coming back from work, they would give me like pages that they would have printed at work so that I can just draw behind it. So I just draw like all the time, like even like to tell them my day at work, at school, etc. So it'd just be like a constant drawing situation. And then after that, I just kind of started learning a bit about like Adobe, etc. quite early on, because I got lucky to go to like a placement when I was, I don't know, maybe 12 or something, to
Nice.
design at school.
It'll start early. Child labor.
Yeah, but you can see yeah, back in the day it was like very I mean, you can see on the top left there, it's just like things that I was literally discovering the software. So obviously I thought it was quite funny to show you guys that, because I was like, it always starts from a place where it's like horrible, but then you just see the evolution with time. But yeah,
well, 12-year-old as well, do you know what I mean?
I mean, I bet you 12-year-old these days they're like doing crazy cool design. Yeah, so it was quite funny, but yeah, just learning the ropes, and finding any reason. I think that's the thing, like when you're a kid you just find any reason to design stuff for or draw stuff for. So it'll be any school situation where they would need posters making, like I'll give it a go. So yeah, I think it's been like mainly just having fun, without any kind of structure or anything that you would kind of know how to do. It'd just be like, let me try that effect, let me put that there, or let me redo that all the time. But yeah, just playing with a lot of different things. But yeah, I don't know, like how was it for you guys? Like did you start the same way, like where you were like drawing a lot when you were kids, or were you like, did you come to design through another way?
It's funny you say this, right? Because I'm got to do a Petricuccia next week at work. So, and I've been racking my brain about loads of things to do it on. Do you know what I mean? I've been trying to find a narrative and stuff. But anyway, I think I'm going to do it on me. Imagine that. Okay, mind blown, right? No, but I was speaking to my mother, and when I was younger, I used to go to my grandma's, and I used to do this exact thing. So I used to get Simpson comics, and I'd fucking redraw the Simpson comics. I'd redraw Homer, Bart, everyone. But my thing was Rémy, and it's something that's like I have OCD, me, do you know what I mean? And like throughout my career, it's something I've not, obviously in design, everything's got to be perfect. But I had this thing where I had to make everything perfect. It's really interesting looking back, and I remember I couldn't like verbalize how it made me feel, you know what I mean, at the time. But I remember how anxious and stressed it made me when things went out the lines and stuff. And I think it says so much about me as a becoming a designer. It's interesting, isn't it, how you don't lean more so into illustration? Because I was like, honestly, I think my grandma's chucked them all away. I don't know where they are. I was trying to get my mum to locate them for me. But I fill books and books and books with these illustrations,
Yeah, I think it was just that, like, it was always trying to, like, do it like better than the last time, and just trying to like it. Obviously the scale back then, but yeah, I just think it's interesting because sometimes like you meet a lot of designers and they don't always come from like the drawing side of things. So it's kind of interesting sometimes to know what the origin of the design passion was. Was it the same for you, Michael, or did you go from like a different angle?
I think I'm the opposite. Yeah. I think I just didn't want to do maths or English or anything academic.
Yeah.
It's definitely that, yeah.
Which Yeah, like I always remember my teachers telling me that you need to pick better options. Like, don't be doing art, don't be doing design. You need things that are going to get you a real job.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go nowhere in life picking these options. And my English teacher said that I'm not going to amount to anything. Well, look at me now.
Yeah.
But yeah, jokes aside, like, I wasn't really much of a doodler. I think it came quite late to me. It was whilst I was at university, actually, where I was still very undecided in the first year, and if I was doing the right thing or not. And when it came to the second year, we had this timetable. Sorry, not a timetable, like a list on the classroom wall, and it showed everybody's position in terms of the grade. And I was like, there was like 70 students, and I was like maybe 60, let's say 69. And I, and I was like at the bottom of that list, and I think seeing that hurt my feelings so much. I was like, okay, I need to get good at this. And then obviously through that irritation, I then started to study harder and learn more. And then it's sort of then when I fell in love with it. So I was probably maybe like 21 when I really, really, really fell in love with it. I always knew that I liked art. I always knew that I liked design, but I think it was quite late when I really started to know that this is what I want to do, and there's a career in this, and this is it for me.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the career side of things, like, I feel like sometimes even our parents didn't really know about those careers that much because it wasn't really like a big thing back then. So I think like there was definitely, doubts around like, can you actually make a job out of like just, drawing stuff? Like we didn't even know. I mean, personally, I didn't know what graphic design was. I just knew about like design in general. So like when people were saying, "Oh, what do you want to do when you're older?" I was like designer, but then it was like, well, don't really know what it is. Like you would just see like product designers who would do like maybe glasses or phones but I didn't know about graphic design at all. And I think that's why like my parents or my dad, I remember, was maybe a bit more worried about like it becoming like a job where it was like, oh, like you're always drawing like characters, but is there like a way that you can do something for it as a job? I think that's when I started like opening a bit more and like trying to learn other things than just characters. So yeah, it's kind of funny. And now obviously like when we talk work about with them, and they're just, oh yeah, they get that it's a a normal job. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And what was that process like for you then? From you started to play with things like Photoshop and Illustrator, to then going through like those teenage years, and then get into like design, like deciding, okay, I'm going to go to design school. And also, like, how did your parents feel about that? Because my dad was like so anti going to school and doing anything to do with design. It's like, I just need to get a job and do some work, get a grip.
It's similar actually. Yeah, for me, like I think the contract was until you get your A level, stay in like the kind of main pool. So in France, you had like kind of science, economic and social, and like kind of like writing. I was terrible at math, so didn't go into science, and then I ended up going to economic and social. So I had like an A level in economic and social. And then once I had that, I was like, okay, now I'm done with the kind of main school bits. And kind of everything just disappeared from my head, which is kind of bad. But I just knew I had to just do that to get to actually art school, which was the thing I always wanted to do. And funnily enough, my brother actually went to design university for like a couple of years before I actually went there. So I could get to like chat with him. I was like, oh, how is it? Like, what do you do every day? And then he would tell me like, oh yeah, we've had like a course where we draw like boxes, or a course where we do like an identity for like a political party. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So I would just ask him to like give me the briefs that I got at school to just see if I could just play, or if he could teach me Illustrator or things like that. So I was kind of like just starting to play around with that. And then after, when I got to uni, it was I mean, to be honest, the first year of uni was like, mainly, as you can see, like it was like academic drawing. So it was a lot of, drawing like live drawing, going to museums and drawing like skeletons and objects, etc. Like, very, very, like no computers allowed at all for the first year, which I think is, I don't know if it was, like, is it foundation in the UK? Like, do you just do traditional stuff, or are you allowed to like just jump into like the more like kind of digital side?
The way it's structured, the way it was structured at our university, like that kind of like first semester is like 1 week projects, where it's mainly focused on like the thinking of Smile in the Mind, you know. So to say, like, one that stuck out still haunts me daily was this Faces in Places project. And fucking just basically the project was go out for a week and just make observations of faces, you know, out in like environments. So it's kind of like more so like getting that kind of like way of thinking. It's observing in it. Do you know what I mean? It's seeing instead of doing. I think that's the practice really for the first kind of. It's not really hands, which again is what you're saying there. Really, you know, it's kind of like the moment of discovery in it. It's like when the fucking you see the arrow in the FedEx logo for the first time. I mentioned that it's such a corporate example, but it has a place that's close to me. but
yeah, when people don't know about it, you show it, and then oh yeah.
Sure. Well, that was again, that was when the penny. I've probably mentioned this a few times now, but that was the penny drop moment for me in my career, when I was at college, kind of thing, and it got put on the board, and I didn't see it, and then the tutor told me that it was there, and I was like, oh shit, that's it, that's what I want to do. I want to give people that feeling, like that's what I'm going to do for my career.
Yeah.
But yeah, please, this is great.
I think that's exactly it. It's I think the focus on like idea is kind of interesting, because I think at the very start I probably came into art school just wanting to draw better, like if I'm completely honest. And with time, first of all, like you meet people who draw, you know, way better. And you know, you're just thinking like, okay, how can I find like a different edge? Because I think, you know, when you're a kid and you draw at school, a lot of people don't draw, but then when you arrive into an art school, a lot of people draw. So suddenly, like, your point of difference is maybe not the same. So you just have to, like, you know, think about what's actually important. But yeah, idea was like for a long time, I think I thought like, oh, ideas are so hard and I can't, like, you know, kickstart projects. I was just finding it very hard. And now it gets, you know, with just training. But yeah.
When did you sort of find that switch of like putting ideas into things, and then like you said at design school, a lot of it was you know, like fine art, sort of a little bit more of like a classical sort of style of doing like life drawings and so on. Then when did you start to switch more into branding and understanding that that's the direction you want to go in?
I think that was so between the third year, so I did 4 years of uni, and between the third year and fourth year, you do like a 3 to 6 months internship. And so nice. I ended up going to Landor at that point. So like between the 2 years.
Great.
And yeah, I think it's when I went there, like started to have like a bit more of, obviously, like working with like professionals. I did like 3 months of packaging and 3 months of back in the day it was like identity. And yeah, I was just trying. I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to focus on back then. I was just like, okay, design, and let's try both. And then I think you start like having people teaching you about, you know, ideas and like almost the bigger picture, like the whole kind of design system, and not just the one specific piece that you're designing for. And I think it was kind of a good entry point to the design world. And also there I started meeting people who actually spoke English, because, you know, in Paris, like it's back then, I mean, it's even now, you know, it's still hard to find companies where like people just spoke English, like people were actually English or, you know, American or Australian. And that was the reason why I went to Landor originally, was just to like work with people who were more international. Because I just knew I wanted to leave France after uni, and so that was kind of like almost the best bridge for me, is to go there and start having like a bit of like an access to, you know, the world.
And on that note, so what brought you to London?
Yeah, London. Well, so I met a designer when I was at Landor called Pan, who I think actually now moved since then to London, to New York, etc. But when I was chatting with him, he gave me just a few different studios. He was like, he started mentioning Pentagram and Wolf Orleans and Saffron, and I was like, oh, I've never heard about those names before. In France, like they weren't known at all, and so I kind of looked at them, and then I think I sent like few CVs, like just to try and get some internships. And then I ended up having like a chat with people at Saffron. But it was tough back then. I was like, I couldn't speak English that much, so I was just like sat in like one of the classroom trying to like present my projects, but I had like all the notes on my computer, trying to like read what I wanted to say for each project. And then moved to London. Maybe I think like I was supposed to move in October, and then they called me in July to say, "Oh, can you move next week?"
Nice.
And I was like, I called my best friend who was supposed to come in, and I was like, should I? I was like, yeah, just go, man. So I just left, and then arrived in Bethnal Green. But
Nice.
so yeah, that was a big adventure. And started at Saffron back then for
Nice.
internship. The first.
So how long ago was that then?
So that was I'd say that would be 11 years this year. So like in July, that was 11 years. So that's
Yeah. Are we similar? How old are you? Are we similar ages? 30, 31?
Yeah, I'm 32, about to be
Yeah.
So same generation, yeah, literally.
Oh, we've definitely been in the same room at some point in London, 100%. You know what I mean? Like, definitely.
Well,
because I'm trying. Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, you go.
No, I was going to say, yeah, as you keep going through your journey, I'm sure we'll figure out someone that we know mutually, obviously. But yeah.
I'm thinking of people that we know from Landor that's at Saffron.
Yeah.
Saffron,
Well, with Craig. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you'll see there's a little project that I did when I was working with him. So
nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, lovely.
But yeah, it's
so how long was you at Saffron?
So I was there for 4 years. So I kind of did like internship. I had like 6 months internship, then junior, then mid, and then I left to go somewhere else.
Was you senior? Did you go to senior on that next transition? Yeah.
So no, I went midweight to studio output, and then I think after that, I was just like, oh, actually, I think that's when I realized that I wanted to start freelancing. So then I left, and weirdly enough, it's like the whole kind of evolution through the different roles. I think I did it like in a weird way, which wasn't really through like the jobs that I was working for. I think for a long time I was just feeling like, when you are in company, you always get, set some kind of objectives to move to the next role. And sometimes like those kind of parameters were always kind of moving. And at some point I was just thought, you know what, I just want to move to the next level when I feel I'm ready for it. And when I feel I'm like, comfy with what I can do. So I just ended up doing that.
I think me and Michael always say this, like, I think like senior or even that beginning level of like senior is a good time to go freelance, and be a fly on the wall and all these kind of like agencies that you're really fond of, and even from the transition from going from like Saffron studio output and then potentially looking for a new home. That's the kind of my approach too, like kind of be a fly on the wall in these places.
Yeah, because you learn all your kind of like base skill from these companies you've been at the start, and then I think you just want to know like other approaches, because like you don't really want to like get stuck to just one approach. I feel like sometimes it's just harder.
Yeah, for some people do it. Some people stay at companies. I know people who born like started as an intern and worked their right up to the top as an ECD. That's some people's journey. But I've always felt, and like the people who are my mentors in the industry and stuff like that, a lot of them have seen more walls than the ones that they started in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you do get influenced by those people that you meet. They might give you like almost inspiration to do that. Like we saw quite a few freelancers when I was at Saffron actually, and every time I was just learning like a lot of things from them, because they just had every time they had like a different approach to the people who were working with, including Craig. So Craig was started as a freelancer at Saffron, and we just kind of hit it off from there.
Nice. Show me. I want to see some work. Show me. Yeah. You told me how the sausage. What's the saying? What's that saying on the thingy? You told me. I want to see the sausage now. You told me how it's been made, or something like that. What is it? What's the saying? It's on The Gentleman.
This one was this first project is the very first ever. It was like how do you call that? The first project ever I'd done when I moved to London. At Saffron. And yeah, for me, I was just like, oh, what a sick start. Like, I start working. The first project is a music festival. I was like, I love music, and like, yeah, we're gonna take you to the festival. So we went to the festival back then, which obviously doesn't exist anymore. we probably did the last iteration and then just killed it. But yeah, it was went in the backstage.
I hope it wasn't because of your designs, Rémy.
Well, that's why we wondered with my mates we designed it with. We were like, oh, it's in the graveyard. Is it because of us? But yeah, it was really fun. Like, you just go there and you're like, wow, you just get to like experience the festival and just do like some recce and do photo shoots for the design and for the project. And you're like, wow, if that's what I signed up for, it's gonna be a sick time, like doing graphic design. Yeah, it was really fun. And then like with this one, the whole idea behind it was this idea of like bring the vibe. So it was all about like people and the artists connecting at the festival and almost trying to represent like the intangible feeling that you have when you're like celebrating with your mates. And so the way we kind of did that, we started like working with like 3D designers to create those like 3D vibes that would like flow in and out. And the light would change depending on like where you would be, so it would be like absorbing like the ambience around you. And then there were a lot of things around like how do you create that vibe, so like whether it was like words of like to encourage people to dance, etc. So it was all around like trying to create something that felt like uplifting. And that was just really fun. And you get to see Kendrick Lamar live. As like a 20-year-old, I was like, wow, that's a cool internship I'm doing there.
Yeah, it must be really cool to see some of those artists like by the side of your artwork. Like that must be that's probably the magic moment, right?
Yeah, that was really cool. And you just I think it's just we went back the next year, and I think that's when it's kind of funny, because that's when you learn, you look at the stuff and you're like, oh shit, I didn't put that in the guidelines. And then you see like some stuff when it's rolled out where you might have like a vibe that is tiny and it kind of looks like a worm, and you're like, oh, we should have talked about scale. I think that's when I started to understand that actually sometimes when you put like those kind of rules and guidance in the guidelines, they actually have an impact if you forget something. So I think you kind of start like learning from things you've forgotten on projects, and you're like, okay, for the next one, I'll make sure that this is kind of explained. So it's kind of good thing to experience, definitely.
It's a funny one with guidelines, like how tight you keep it. I find myself sometimes writing to the designer's discretion, but sometimes that's not always a good thing, because then, like you said, you get lots of little worms on a page.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think more and more now, because the design teams are so wide. I think the more guidance you give, sometimes the more people will just tend to skip it, and they'll be like, nah, you know what, I'll just there's like 300 pages in those guidelines. I can't read everything. So I think sometimes it helps more to see the brand in action and just think about all these touch points. But that one, like I was saying, just the behind the scene was quite fun, just being able to go there with like, the rest of the team. And like even there you can see like there's a bit of like even the influence of like from when I was a kid, where you can still see that you can go back in there with the way you kind of draw stuff. So like drawing those vibes, and it always kind of comes back. I feel like your influences when you work, and it's always, I think, maybe that exchange between what you used to like when you were a kid and who you are from that, and then trying to re-inject that for clients sometimes, but without overtaking completely what they want to do.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Well, this one is the one. So I did with Craig at Saffron. It was just crazy. It's just the biggest project, or in terms of like the touch points. I think for me at the time, I was just like, wow, designing for a plane is pretty crazy. And I remember one of my DD at the time, who's called Nima. He told me, like, if we win that pitch, you need to stay on that job, because it happens like sometimes once in a lifetime. And so I was like, okay, I'll hopefully they keep me on that job, and they did. And then yeah, it was like almost like I think it was 2 years project, 2.5 years. So your grand scheme of things, when you're like 4 years in your career, like it's almost like 50% of your career is like one project. And that one was, yeah, it was pretty insane. I was from, like working on the livery of the plane for like, weeks and weeks, just doing iteration on the Falcon for the back of the plane, trying to fit it on the kind of, I don't know, let's call it the spoiler, the fin of the plane. And we worked with, illustrators to do that. It was just, I think it was just almost like almost like a dream project, because it just touches everything. And from like working with people who were looking at like material based on like the strategy, etc. So it was just very, very like a full 360 project. And yeah, like at the time I think I was like a midweight designer, and yeah, I think I was just super like happy to still be on it like the whole time, from like start to finish. You just really see the project evolve. And you get like actually I still have it on my desk, but I have like a little plane that someone saved me, and I was like, that's as good as it gets for me. It's having toys at the end of a project. That's for me, that's when I'm winning.
Those little planes were knocking around everywhere at Landor, because I felt that they worked on quite a few. I think at the time, actually, when I was there, Craig was working on Italia Airlines. So yeah, I can imagine he brought that, to this Gulf Air project.
Yeah, 100%. So you worked. So it's funny, yeah. So in terms of timeline, we really must have been, working with the similar people at roughly the same time, or like, you probably would have worked with him just before he started working with me. So it's
I think he'd. I don't know how long he until he moved to Saffron, but yeah, probably couldn't have been much longer. I also know. Do you know Jihei?
Yeah, of course I know Jihei.
Yeah. So when I was interning at Landor, I was sat next to her. We were both interning at the same time.
It's so funny. Jihei, yeah. I used to work, but well, she worked actually on Gulf Air. Like I remember we were like defining secondary colors together on that project. And I'm actually going to see her in October, because I'm going to South Korea.
Oh, sick!
Nice.
So we're gonna catch up. Like we haven't seen each other for like years now, but yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, tiny world.
Oh yeah, man, nice.
Yeah, Jihei was so creative. I still remember her portfolio when I saw it. I was like, wow, there was like
she's amazing.
Moth on tree, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
I felt embarrassed sat next to her. I was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, the ideas were like insane. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that one. So that's like we almost like skip a chapter in the future, but it was so that was when I started freelancing, and I kind of worked with a company called Onwards back then, and then I think it was called Article. And then there, originally I worked on the England rugby like system update. And then after that, like I was working with someone called Graham Cook, who's based in Bath now. He's the CD at Thisaway. And so basically he started Thisaway, and then because we worked together onwards, he was like, oh, do you want to come and help me to just like start working on projects, etc. I'm bringing the rugby, England rugby with me. And so I was like, yeah, sick. Okay, I'll work on that. They're fun clients, and it's just, like rugby, it's just something which is very tangible. And I've just always liked tangible projects where, like normal people just interact with it. So like whether it's like sport or music, etc. I just think like there's something where, you can project yourself a bit more on like what might, be exciting for people. And so for that one, it was all about like the Rugby World Cup campaign for the team. So it was like the whole time of the World Cup, we were like designing things for England Rugby with their team, and it was just I think it was like almost the best mix between all the influences that I had when I was a kid, and I was like, okay, there's one opportunity in my life where I'll be able to potentially use all the manga reference that I had in my head. And it literally happened to be in Japan, the World Cup. So we're like, okay, you know what, let's do it. And clients put the idea. And then, yeah, we're just starting like having fun, with layouts. And working with like illustrators that would like redo the different players, and yeah, it was just, I think it was just almost like a childhood project, but coming
Back
to
to
like
your Dragon Ball Z days.
yeah. Definitely when I was doing those layouts, I was definitely opening the different manga and be like, okay, how does the grid work? And yeah, it's pretty fun to create.
Really cool.
Obviously, it's tricky when your dad is for the French rugby team, and he's like, and you're kind of rooting for the England team to win because you want to design more stuff for the final. So yeah, it was pretty funny. And then yeah, on the back of that, we started to work on a project for England Rugby again, which was for their 150th year anniversary. So I think it was like the first ever rugby game against Scotland, and so it was like about like doing like a heritage rose that was based on the very first rose that was on the first cap. And so on that we worked like with an illustrator again to just like it got very kind of nerdy where you'd look at like, okay, what's the width of the different stroke in the rose so that you can do it in silicone when it's done on the shirt. Can you stitch it? Do you have like I think this one was very much like logo nerdy vibe where you do like all the reverse so that the shadows are in the right way when you're on dark background, and then you've got like all the different version for when it gets like smaller and smaller. So I think it was more like a logo dream project, and obviously like just getting to redesign the rose for like a one-off event was pretty amazing opportunity.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, that sort of woodcut finish to it. And is that how it was produced?
Yeah, so that was so the one on the left was the one for the shirt for the official England team. And then there were like other ones where they were like more stitched, and some of them were printed. So they had like lots of different variation for all the merch that they were trying to do. And then got a shirt out of it as well. So I'm always happy when I get something real at the end. So yeah, it was good. It was good fun, this one.
Did you get any holidays with golf?
No, never. Yeah, it's I still need to experience the plane to see if it's see in real life if it's been done well.
Yeah, nice. Oh, that was great.
Oh, thanks, guys. It's so really you go.
So this is where you're at now. Where are you now? Where are you? Are you still freelancing now? Yeah.
Freelancing currently. I'm freelancing with Koto, New York. But I'm doing remote, so I'm remote in London, but I work with them. So we kind of like have a few meetings a day to make sure we're all aligned. But I've been with guys for I think the last 6 months, and then on and off I kind of like keep going with them, and then going back in person in London. So I think I kind of need that mix between in-person studio, like having like a bit of FaceTime with people, because full remote sometimes it's kind of like tough on. Just I think probably like just feeling a bit like lonely, etc. You're like, oh, you just want to like have people around you. I try to have that mix where I work with those guys, work with Nomad a little bit. Well, you can see actually like the Betano stuff. That was like a betting company we worked for. I just keep working on sports somehow. I'm always it's kind of funny because like when I was a kid I was never really like a sport person, so it's kind of funny that I ended up working in that category the most. But
it's what happens, isn't it? Like you work on one sports brand, and then you become a sports designer. You work on one drinks brand, you become a drinks designer. Like it's easy to fall into that trap, and how you pull your work apart, like on your portfolio and stuff, I guess it's going to attract the sort of work that you get, especially like when you're freelancing, which is interesting. But there's some lovely projects on here, Rémy. Like the Lightroom really nice one is one that's always like really stuck out to me. What was your involvement in that, and who was that with again?
Lightroom was so that was with Koto London this time. So that was when I was freelancing with them. So I think maybe a couple of years ago. And that one was really fun. I think it was literally like a logo job, and I think that's when you start like thinking about like all the influences and trying to like smile in the mind where you're like, okay, I just like if it's a light room, you just want to, like, the first thing you think about is like, you imagine that light coming out of that room. So I was like, how can you like almost like do an L, but using the light that would like stream from the corner of the door. And even though when you go to the place, there's not like an actual door like that, but I think they've managed to do it like with a little like stream of light around like one of the corridor, just to give you that feeling. But yeah, it's pretty sick. Like even the place. I don't know if you guys have been to that place.
I've not been to it. No.
It's pretty nice. I think it's. I went to see the very first one, which was for David Hockney. Yeah. But I think they're gonna do like some more. I think at the minute there's like something around like space and like going on the moon, etc.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah, it lends itself to it. But yeah, always love. I think doing logos is something I've always liked doing. Probably like it's almost like the purest form of like playing with shapes and trying to hide something in the whether it's in the type symbol. I think it's like what you were saying about like interpreting like things differently to what you just see in front of you. So yeah, it's just something I enjoy. I kind of enjoy doing.
Which we spotted in the come crime with me as well. That is like a nice little touch in there.
Yeah, that one was really fun.
I live for that shit. I love them moments. I love that shit.
Yeah, it's like it's so funny because when you do one of those, like you'll be able to find something to hide, and then you just like try lots of different combination, and then once you find the one, you're like, I think it that it's the one. I think there's like things like that where it's almost like solving a puzzle. Yeah, no, definitely.
Right.
And tell me about Ramsay's garage, because my son is obsessed with Disney cars, so I see that, and like I love just the red and like the glitter that comes through it and all that stuff. Like it just really reminds me of Disney cars.
Yeah, I think Ramsay's garage was so Gordon Ramsay like approached Koto for like a project where they're opening like lots of or like a pop-up restaurant with the F1 race. So they needed like an identity for that, but it was just I think Gordon Ramsay just likes things which are like very simple and instant. Obviously he's a chef who's like talking to like the very wide audience, so you don't want to get too like tricksy and complicated with it. And I think it's kind of good because you just go back to almost like pop culture reference, and I think it's just like going back to nostalgia. So you think about like old cars, and then when you think about a car, when you're a kid, you're like, well, you got those Hot Wheels, which are like usually like a red Ferrari. You just have that. So I think we just kind of went to that direction. It was really fun to create, and I think like now that it's being rolled out even more. So hopefully we'll see like some more application of it with neon, and so it should be cool.
Wait, Ramsay's wait, lad, wait. Ramsay's wait. So why was he why was he doing the garage?
So Ramsay's garage is the name of the restaurant. So it's going to be the pop-up restaurant with all the F1.
Right. Okay, sweet. And that was right. I'm trying to see the image. Yeah, I can't really see the image. I can't have the video. I didn't know if there was I'm guessing they're dissecting bowls of food there, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think interesting. Because if it was actually his garage, do you know what I mean?
It's not racing or anything.
But no, I see. So it was for the what do you say, F1 drivers? Yeah, that was what it was for. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd go.
Even that you can imagine with like icons and that, with like a plate with like the cutlery feeling like a wrench and a fucking, you know what I mean, and whatever, just really cleanly shot. It's a sweet thing.
Joel who's on this, he did some funny applications where we had like one of those kind of fuel tank with the symbol on it. And we're like, see, that's the only time where we'll be able to apply the logo on something like that. So yeah, it's quite fun.
That's a great brief. That I would have loved that brief. I go wow with something like that.
It's really it's mixing two worlds, which where you're like,
that's it. 1 + 1 = 3. That's a fun. I mean, like I said, regardless of what the client's direction is and the thing, I think the opportunity at hand to do some crazy shit is
really cool. That's very good. good clients. The Ramsay team, I have to say. They're just very open to ideas, and yeah, it's really cool.
Amazing.
Sorry, Christian, go ahead.
Please, Michael. Because you've not got headphones on. It's not when your headphones on, Remy. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a bit of an audio receptive delay. You know what I'm saying?
My bad. I was going to say that. Yeah, I think as you mentioned before, like building up like the foundations of becoming a designer and sort of feeling comfortable enough to go freelance. It's sort of becoming like a senior designer. It's quite a nice time to start going through the motions of that. And it seems like, you've got around to loads of really good places. And like as Christian mentioned before, it's so good to just be a fly on the wall at all these different places. And you get to feel like a student again, which is like so amazing. Yeah. Is there any sort of key things that you could share or like ways of working that you've picked up from like going to these different places?
Well, I think like the main thing is that you just see, I think a lot of the places have like their own approach, and in all the places you've got like very good designers. I think sometimes that's why you see like all the younger designers as well arriving, and I think that's when you're like, oh shit, there's like the next generation is pretty sick at what they do. So it's kind of funny to see like all these places, like how they manage to like push those kind of young talents in different ways, and like how they kind of like help them get to the next level, etc. But I think in terms of like freelancing around, a lot of the time I think it's kind of similar, weirdly, in a lot of companies. Like it's not that different. Where when I went originally, it was just to really, like you said, being a fly on the wall. And I don't know why I was thinking that everyone was doing things like so differently. But I think, overall, like it's very homogeneous, the way people work. There's some places which try to challenge themselves and like do things differently. And I think those, are very funny, because you go there and you're like, okay, when I go to that place, I'm going to have to, like really focus on like improving and learning those new software that they might be using, or those new approaches. But the good thing is that, when you freelance, you can also go to other companies and potentially bring those things that you've learned with you. Because I think it's almost like about like learning from them. And then sometimes if the companies are interested in it, like sometimes they can learn also from like the way you do stuff. So it's kind of funny, because I feel like the freelance community, it's kind of a very small, like you always cross paths with the same freelancers when you move studios. So it's kind of funny sometimes to compare notes and be like, okay, where. But yeah,
when I started freelancing, I was hoping for like a bit of a, just not an easy ride, but just like a first step, which was like, okay, I'm comfortable here. Like the first one I went to was Here Design, which like I put on a pedestal for so long, and like I've just loved the work for so long.
Yeah.
And just every day, Remy, like my heart was in my chest, like I don't belong here. There seems to be a common theme there, doesn't it? I think I've said that twice.
Yeah, you need to get out your head, bro.
To get out of my head.
Fuck all that shit. They're privileged to have you there. It's not a privilege to be there. They're privileged to have you.
But yeah, it gets like that, doesn't it? And you get in there, and exactly like you're saying as well, Christian, is that you look around and you're like, oh yeah, they're just people. Like, they're not aliens. Like everyone's a human being, and everyone's there to just do good work, and like you contribute to that. And I think it's a really good experience to to just get around and just seeing different ways of working, just learning from different people. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's good to have that exchange, I think, because I think when you start your career, it's usually like I wouldn't say it's like one-way road, but because you're almost like so grateful to have like your first internship or your first junior role, you don't like you'll just accept what you get told, or you'll just consider that as like the truth. And then I think the more you grow, the more you get comfier with what you think might be right. And then I think you can just like go around. And I think the balance kind of, especially with freelancing, like I could feel, I think that's why I stayed freelancer, because originally I went to tryout company to find my next place where I would want to settle to be a full-timer. And then I don't know, I just felt like the balance between the company and you as a designer was way more neutral. Like people would treat you in a neutral way.
Got
any like favor treatments, or to try and like keep you after a probation period, or it was just like you're a designer, we're a company, let's do our best together. And then after that, you know, I think you just start on like something that is way more balanced from the start. So yeah, I think it's just a good way to have like a good, you know, good relationship with work as well.
And what's next for you, Rémy?
Well, so next, I think I might be going back to Nomad. So
nice.
for my in-person stint. And then yeah, I think. But the first thing before that is I'm going on a little holiday to South Korea. So pretty exciting.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
it'd be cool. What about you guys then? So, what are you both freelancing at the minute or full time or?
I'm full time in it. I'm full time at Pearl Fisher. And obviously, but I said very similar things though. Do you know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't know if you know much about my thing, but I was Turner Duckworth, then B&B, and then freelance for a year, JKR, stuff like that. And then from there, I've ended up in New York at Pearl Fisher.
Nice.
But similar things, you know what I mean? You've worked at some great agencies, some of my favorite ones. Some are out there doing, you know what I mean, amazing work. So it's nice to chat and get you're the fly on the wall. You're telling us what's good.
Yeah, are you enjoying the New York like the New York vibe, and like even like do you see like a difference in the way people work there?
There is certain differences, you know, like but everything about New York is the same as London but different. And I know it's a really shit way of saying things, and I think if you've been to New York.
Yeah.
So you know it is like as soon as you get here and you feel the scale of things, and then work again is exactly the same but different. There's just certain nuances that are just different, American, you know, and sometimes people struggle understanding what I'm saying, which kills me.
yeah. It's funny. One of my mate there, he's from Manchester, and we were saying that actually sometimes people struggle to understand him more than they do to understand me, even though I've got a French accent. So it's kind of funny sometimes the nuances.
I think it's not necessarily the word, like you pronounce words better than I do. Do you know what I mean? I don't present like with the Manchester thing, the slang that it's a lazy pronunciation. Do you know what I mean? Like your pronunciation's clear. Where like we made observations when Callum was out here, and like Callum would say to people, "You okay?" And like people would just be like, "What the fuck's he saying?" Like, "You okay?" You know, and like stuff like that. And like even like
what's wrong with that?
I don't know. I just don't think it processes it. Like I just don't think that the sounds that I'm making with my
I mean, how can somebody not understand you okay?
But we're not saying it right, are we? Are you the real way to say that is, are you okay? Do you know what I mean? We're bouncing in, but you okay? You fucking what? You fucking what? Do you know what I mean? So that's what you don't notice. It's the lack of clarity and pronunciation. Do you know what I'm saying? And I speak quite, especially when I'm on a concept stage for a project and I get on a call and there's like 7 other people on this call. And again, the Americans love silence. One, they don't love silence, but they'll sit in silence a little bit more on a call. And it fucking kills someone like me because I'll run my mouth for days in it. But like I get on a meeting and like you just wait for people to come on the meeting. And we're in the UK when you get on a meeting and it's like we're waiting for people to get, and everyone's talking about like what they've had for the breakfast and and this happened last night and you never believe what I watched and It's just not really like that. These other little things where I need to put myself and like understand when to just tailor it down and then up it. But I'll never change myself. You know, I'll never be anyone different than me. I'm always going to run my mouth.
Well, I mean, that's probably why you know, they've flown you over, etc. You know, it's
well, hopefully that and my design skills, but yeah. Hand in hand, Rémy. Best believe it is. But yeah, well, listen, we're very grateful for your time. We appreciate you very much. If you ever are on your travels in New York and you end up at Koto out here, please do get in touch with me. I'll be back in London here and there. Do you know what I mean? So if there is time, I'll hit you up and
nice.
we'll grab a non-alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, sounds good.
But thank you so much, and for the time on a Sunday when it's prep day and all that stuff, and pulling everything together. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. It's it was great. Never been on a podcast before, so it was a big new one.
Oh, you smashed it, lad. It was sick. The preparation came in. You was prepped. You was never going to fail. I don't think you can fail these things anyway. It's just a conversation, isn't it? But we really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. What were you guys doing this Sunday then?
That's us now, bro. I'm going to slam my laptop shut. I'm going to prep my day. I've got a bit of work. I always do a little bit of work on Sundays just to get ahead of the week, just to see where I'm at, and then that's me. And Michael's got kids duty. Michael's running around dropping kids off and doing this, and
I've got a children's party to go to.
In it, come on, right here. That's a fucking hectic Sunday. That Jesus Christ.
Sure
so
is.
yeah, that's us. But yeah,
Well, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, for having me on, and then looking forward to see I mean, hopefully we meet in person. If
I'm sure we will.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch. We'll keep in touch. It's up to you want to leave, because like me and Michael usually chew the fat for 5 minutes for things. So it's up to you if you just want to slam it short or however you want to do it.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a tradition.
Yeah,
so, like people just close the lid.
Yeah.
But I think we need to work
up on children's books. Yeah.
we need to work this section out a little bit better. But yeah, that's us. Nice one, Rémy.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah, I think we need to work that section out just a little bit better. Do you know what I mean? Because I always it always reminds me of the Mike Tyson one. When you think that was good, I really enjoyed hearing where he's at. It's nice to, like you said, get a bit of what it's like behind the doors of Koto and all them, you know what I mean, kind of agencies.
That's what I was after. It's like, come on, man, spill the beans. You know what I mean?
I want the bits. Yeah, really great.
For a little bit more after that.
And what's good, lad, we're back. Do you know what I mean? We'll get these things rolling. Do you know what I mean? I feel really inspired and lit up every time I do one of these, and hoping other people do too. Thick and fast, as consistent as it can possibly be. Hopefully now we find it. I swear I say this on every one of them, bro. But we're just turning up and doing them. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of Michael's punctuality in certain contexts, but you know what I mean?
I was 7 minutes late, and then you were 7 minutes late the next time. Come on.
Do you know what I mean? Double standards. I love and appreciate you, Michael. Thank you very much for your time. To keep doing these. Do you know what I mean? Well, thank you to myself. I'm gonna go and have some eggs. I've got some nice bread, bro.
Have you? What you want?
Got a nice little sourdough boule or bule. Might not be a great thingy, but a nice little naughty number.
That's how the other side live. I don't have Waitrose around the corner anymore. Do you know what I mean? Going downhill. Have you been to? Is it called Irwell? What's it called? I keep asking you about it, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't know what it is." It's like a proper bougie shop in New York.
Well, nah. I do my. Trader Joe's has just opened on 125th, so I do bits there, bits at Whole Foods, and then bits on Instacart. It's great using brands like Instacart. I was a massive fan of Instacart when Wolf Hollins did it. I fucking love that job, and it's great using it because it's so nicely done. Like even when like you just go onto the homepage, everything's done like nicely. It's fucking. That's what I'm doing now. Actually, I should have said that to Rémy. I'm waiting for that. That's coming in between 9 and 12. Just got a notification that the shopper's doing my shop for me. New York living, bro. I picked bits up from Trader Joe's, lad, but I don't really do any grocery shopping outwards. It gets delivered, bro. I don't have time for that shit. It's not like that, bro. There's not like obviously there's a bodega on every block, but you can't do a big shop at bodega. You can't even really get anything some of them you can, but it's more like snacks shit. You can't really do like a big shop.
Not for human consumption.
Well, not for Christians' consumption. Don't eat that shit, bro. But let's do a pod. I'd love to do a pod, and I'll just run my mouth and tell you, man, if anyone's interested in it.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
We don't.
I was thinking as well. It'd be good to do one with a student as well. Like get students to bring up like the portfolio or something. Do you know what I mean? Or like do a section of like where we do like
Boom, roasted.
Yeah. Not necessarily, but in a bit of a nicer way. But like we could do like an hour section, 15-minute slots, shows one piece of work. Then we give like a
that'd be
live.
really cool. It'd be
live
so cool if we
feedback.
could get like a lineup of students and we did like public portfolio reviews.
Yeah, something like that.
That'd be so cool.
But it'd be great if it was like
we had Anos on last time, didn't we? And that was really good.
But even like doing that, I mean, I'm speaking like just I'm verbally vomiting right now, so it might be shit. But like it might be that once obviously we keep building up the following and building up the recognition for the pod. It would be nice to do something like where you make it more live and do it like live in the flesh, and there's like a comment section where people can put comments in on the work as the students are presenting the work and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I get so many students reaching out to me and stuff like that, and it's hard obviously to find the time at times to. I'd love to sit there and get shown 100 portfolios or whatever. I'm not 100 portfolios, but whatever it is, you know.
God, that'd be nerve-wracking, wouldn't it?
But feeding back.
Somebody, I'm assuming somebody messaging on LinkedIn, like, oh, have you got like half an hour to look at my portfolio? Yeah, cool, let's do it live on a podcast on Sunday. And they're all looking at it. Show us the money.
Well, there's that in there as well. Well, I think you'd have to do it where people knew what they were signing up for, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, taking away that edge. I did one, found some time this week to do one. Guess what? That's why it's fresh in my head. And I do find them really rewarding, lad. I do love doing them. Do you know what I mean? I love making it feel just like I spoke to a lad the other day. He was so lovely, bro. I said, I've not even seen your portfolio, bro, but I'd hire you. And he was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know. I was like, bro, it's just design, bro. You know, just a bit of design. We're not doing heart surgery. It should be fun. It's just not that deep, you know, no celebrities or anything like that. It's just fucking, you know.
And on fun, I've got to go to a children's birthday party. So I'm out of here.
Love you, bro. See you next time. Thanks everyone for listening. If you're still listening to this bit, please like, share, subscribe, share, and like all that good stuff. Thanks. Peace.
Peace.
That was good, bro.